I'm talking about children today. So children and the impact of energy surges or astrological events or any kind of sort of big change or shift in energy and how that can impact children. And I don't talk about this often because I kind of stay out of the realm of children because it is a very sensitive subject. I don't want to advise people on how to deal with children, with their own children. Everybody knows their children best. But I feel like I was really called to do this live and talk about this today. And what brought it up and brought it to the forefront is my own son, who is 11 years old. And he is, in numerology, he is a life path 11. And he also has a 9 attitude number, which makes him highly spiritual, highly connected to the spiritual energies, and very, very sensitive to shifts in energies. And so recently, we had this full moon, and then we had the Lion's Gate portal on the 8th of August, the 8th of the 8th, and we've just had a full moon now. And so over the last couple of weeks, he's been a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie, he has been a lot. And I was becoming just exasperated. He'd go to bed at night and couldn't sleep and wouldn't want me to leave him until he'd fallen asleep. He'd keep saying he was getting these weird sensations in his head and in his body. And I was sort of feeling the energy of the Lion's Gate portal as well. And so, between the two of us, I really was starting to feel a bit exasperated and overwhelmed. And it kind of got me thinking, well, we talk a lot about how adults are impacted by energy surges, shifts in energy, astrological events, full moons, that type of thing. But we don't often talk about how it impacts children. And, it really does. It really can have a huge impact on children. And I think we're so good at kind of dismissing children's behaviour or moods by saying, oh, they're tired or they've got a lot going on or they're hormonal, if they're getting to that age. And we don't necessarily link it to the energetic events that are going on around us. And I think we need to do that more because, just from my work, years of working in a school, I know that around the full moon, oh my God, it goes crazy. All the kids just go completely off the rails. And everyone's sort of walking around going, oh my God, there's something in the air. What is wrong with the kids today? And it's that full moon energy, and kids are susceptible to it. And I think it's really important that we talk to them about this. And we talk to the impact of these, to them about the impact these events can have on them. All kids are susceptible to these kind of weird feelings and weird energy around these astrological events. In my experience, the way this tends to present itself is, in very young children, it could be temper tantrums. In all children, it could be sort of mood swings, unable to sleep, being particularly clingy, stroppy, cheeky, fearful even. It could be that they're argumentative, they're having bad dreams, they're overly emotional. It's those type of behaviours and feelings in children that we tend to dismiss and not link to energy surges and things like full moons, new moons even, like the Lion's Gate portal that we've just had on the 8th of the 8th. And what it is these kind of events, particularly the full moon, they bring up all these emotions to the surface in order for them to be processed and released. And so with children, what's happening is, even more than usual, they're having all these emotions kind of just pushed up and brought to the surface, and they don't know what to do with them. And it's us as adults that are there to guide them, which can be really hard when it's magnified by these by this surge in energy. It's we're dealing with our own energy shifts around these astrological events, and we have to deal with theirs as well. One really good way of doing that is actually to talk to children about this type of thing before there's an event. So before there's a full moon, or before there's something like, the Lion's Gate portal or an eclipse or whatever it is talk to them about how that we have not just this physical body and mental body, we have an energy body and an emotional body too. And it's just as important that we look after those bodies as we do our physical body and our mental health. Talking to children about spiritual hygiene and how we can cleanse our energy and how we pick up on energy from other people. And that intensifies around things like the full moon, because everybody's feeling heightened. Everyone's having these emotions come up to the surface. And so children are picking up on all of this. And particularly if you've got a very empathic child, they will be absorbing all of this energy and not understanding what is theirs and what is someone else's. And so it's really important to talk to them about these things and talk to them about how they can cleanse their energy, by grounding. And I know I've done videos on this before, very quick and simple ways for kids to ground is just to walk outside on the grass barefoot. If it's the middle of winter, you might not want to do that. They can do things like just stand with their feet firmly on the floor and imagine a beautiful white light coming down through their head, through their body, right down through their feet and into the earth and going to the center of the earth. And then imagine pulling back up through that light, the beautiful earth energy, just pulling it back up into their body and feeling that energy from the earth. Or even as simple as just imagining they have lead boots on that are pulling them down heavily to the ground. So all of those kind of things will help ground children, but also cleansing. If they're having a shower, encourage them to imagine white light coming down with the water and just cleansing any horrible feelings they've got, any emotions they've had during the day, any sort of thoughts they've got that don't feel good to them, just washing it away down the plug hole. So these are all things that children can do on a daily basis, so that when these energetic surges happen, they already have the tools to deal with them. Because I can tell you from experience, talking to them about this type of thing, when they're in that high state of emotion and energy, is fruitless, because they're not going to be in a state where they can process this. I see this with my son, okay? Every time there's some kind of shifting energy going on, he can't sleep, he gets bad dreams, he doesn't want to go to bed at night, he tells me he's having these strange feelings in his head, and he's very good at verbalizing it. But, not all children are, especially younger children. They may have these feelings and not know how to express that to you. So the things that I found have worked really well are doing things like making sure that, because during the day kids can be busy, we keep them busy a lot. And it means that as they get into bed at night, that's when they start having these feelings and these thoughts that make them feel uncomfortable. So what I have found works is ensuring that the last hour before bed, he gets at least sort of 10-20 minutes where he's literally sitting on his own. He can meditate, he meditates, but not all children have experience doing that, and it can be difficult. So it's really just encouraging them to sit on their own and just allow thoughts to come up. Allow them to process the thoughts that have been going around their head during the day before they get into bed, and then that, becomes a fearful thing. Journaling. So if your children are old enough to write, the way I do it with my son is I say to him, think of something, a feeling that you're having, because during these times of high energy and astrological events, a lot of feelings will be coming up. So I say, think about a feeling that you're having and just start writing. This isn't school, so don't worry about punctuation, spellings, grammar. None of that matters. You're not going to be judged on it. And just write. I am feeling this emotion, and then see what comes after that. And at first it may feel stunted for them. They may not know what to write, but the longer they write, the more things flow and they come out onto the page. And this happened recently during the Lionsgate portal when my son was feeling hugely emotional, and we did this journaling exercise. And so he has just finished year 6. He's just about to go up to year 7. He's been so positive about it. I keep sort of saying, how are you feeling about it? And he's been, oh yeah, great. Everything's fine. And then all these emotions, he started getting really stroppy and cheeky and sort of really challenging as the Lionsgate portal was approaching. And so we did this journaling. He sat down and journaled on his own, and everything that came up was to do with fears around starting secondary school. So kids and adults actually don't always know what these emotions are. And so when these energy surges happen, the emotions come up, but you don't know how to process them because we don't give ourselves enough time to think and go internally. And so the journaling helped him understand, oh, okay, so that's why I'm feeling fearful. That's why I'm feeling kind of irritable. And so we were able then to talk about them. And he could then process them and allow them to be released, which is the whole point of these energetic events, is for these emotions to come up, to be processed and released. And full moons are amazing for that. Teaching kids meditation, if you go on YouTube, you can find so many meditations for kids, guided meditations. And starting with really short ones, you can introduce meditation to their routine. And again, I would suggest doing this when things are calm rather than waiting for these high sort of energy events to start these type of things. Teaching them spiritual hygiene on a daily basis. Having a worry box is incredible because it's like another form of journaling where they can process these thoughts and feelings. Using crystals is incredible. Kids love crystals. They are so drawn to crystals. Mindfulness, getting them to focus on the things that are in front of them right now. But journaling, spiritual hygiene, meditation, and having that time to process the emotions that are coming up before they go to bed are absolutely key. A lot of my clients, a lot of the energy blocks that they've got stuck, along with a lot of the things that are sitting in their physical body and in their energy body, is stuff from way back when they were kids, that these emotions that they just couldn't process. So if we can teach children to process these emotions that the universe is helping bring up for them to process by these energetic events, then we're going to have a lot more successful adults. And I don't mean necessarily success in the physical, in the material sense. I mean success as in adults that are living their purpose, adults that are feeling fulfilled, adults that are in touch with why they are here, adults that understand that they are a spiritual being first and foremost in this physical body. And you can get an app on your phone that will help you track the moon, the phases of the moon anyway. It's called My Moon Phases. And that can be really helpful because you can be prepared. You know what's coming up. You can be prepared yourself for the impact on you, but you can also talk to your child in advance. Okay, so we know a full moon's coming. So do we want to do some journaling? Do we want to do a little bit of meditation? Do we want to take some extra time before bed to sit down and just process how we're feeling and what's coming up for us? And all of this helps them to feel better. It helps them to process what's going on. It helps them to understand what's going on. But it also helps you because, if your emotions are heightened, their emotions are heightened, it can just become a clash, okay? And that's never going to lead anywhere good. It's going to leave you both feeling drained, both feeling overwhelmed, and that's really just, that's going to be sitting in your auric field, and it's going to take a lot of cleansing to get rid of that. So it's obviously much more fruitful to be prepared in advance. This is particularly important for children who have the life path numbers 7, 9 and 11. These are very spiritual numbers. The 7 particularly lives in the head quite a lot, and the 11 particularly is extremely spiritually connected. 11s came here with a higher spiritual purpose. They came to lead the world into spirituality, and so they are very spiritually connected and will be very much impacted by these events. And the 9 again it's a very spiritual number, but children with a 9 life path, adults with a 9 life path may well find themselves in quite a low mood, quite a sort of dark place. But preparation and cleansing and processing will really help them to not go to those dark places. Children feel energy shifts too, not just adults. Children feel energy shifts too, and it's important that we help them to understand this and understand why they are feeling the way that they're feeling. And most importantly, help them to process those feelings so they're not moving from one energy shift to another and just building and building and building and building and never processing that stuff that needs to be released. We want to be beautiful, free channels where energy can flow. We don't want energy to be stuck. The younger we can start that as children, the better. Let's start helping them to deal with this at an early age and to understand that they have 4 bodies. Okay, 4 bodies, not just the physical and the mental. They've got an emotional body and they've got a spiritual body or energy body that needs looking after as well.